Hi crypto kings and queens, welcome to my channel. My name is Natalie, and in today's episode we will go through Bitcoin and Ethereum. And what I see right now on Ethereum is that we can come up to 3,861 and then 3,927 to come back down to 3,409, and then I actually believe that we will have our bullish momentum to the upside again, but we just have to let the market come down a little bit more. I'm super bullish right now on Bitcoin and Ethereum, but we need to finish the downtrend that we're having on the daily chart. But the weekly chart, it's still an uptrend, so we don't have to panic. Remember, I am no financial advisor. You need to look up everything yourself first, but please guys, continue watching this video and I'll show you exactly what I see on Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. I want to start off with looking at the 3-monthly chart because it's the new 3-monthly chart that begins. So what I'm having is the high of these 2 weeks that we're having from January and April, and that is around 59,138 if we want to be precisely. But we're going down to the 2-monthly chart just to see how it looks, and we tried to break this level before if we're going to the 2-monthly chart. So each candle right here, it's for 2 months. The market didn't have the power to break that high, so we saw the market breaking it, we saw the market come back down and close below it, and then we had a huge bearish candlestick. And right now we're having the second 2-monthly candlestick. So just by looking at this huge candlestick that we're having right here, if you want to call it an engulfing candle, because it kind of engulfs it, but we're not including these this wick that we're having to the downside. But just by looking at the candlesticks, obviously if you're having a engulfing candle with a previous resistance, that is obviously the market just following candlesticks patterns. That tells me the market will continue back down. Just looking at the monthly chart again, we can actually see that these 3 candlesticks right here that we're having, that is actually an evening star, because we are against a previous resistance, as I told you. If we see the market coming up a little bit now, we're obviously just might be have a pullback, and then market continues back down a little bit more. As you know guys, I am not done with the bearish momentum right now. I do believe market will continue back down a little bit more. We can just drag a trend line just like this from the low right here, from the push that we did have. We're using this previous low, and we could potentially come back down to that level one more time, and on the 2 weeks. So let's see how it looks on the 3 weekly chart. So if this candle is closing like this, I definitely believe that we can come back down a little bit more, and we just might retouch the level around 43,500. And I've been talking about this level for such a long time. We can also drag a Fibonacci from the lowest point to the highest point, and we're just inside the Fibonacci that we're having on the 3 weekly chart, and we can see that the market is going sideways in between this level. But I do believe we can come back down a little bit more. And as I told you for a couple of days ago, or it was yesterday's lives, we're having also a head and shoulders right here. It doesn't have to happen. We don't have to break the neckline. We don't have to retest it and continue back down. I do believe we will come back down and touch this trend line one more time, and we're also feeling this wick that we did have for a couple of weeks ago. Going to the daily chart, because right now what I do believe is most important is to look at the higher time frame chart, because you need to understand the overall picture obviously, and then we're just breaking everything down to the lower time frames. I'm also going to have this horizontal line. As you can see, if we're going to the 3-monthly chart, I'm using the high of these 2 weeks right here. So if we see the market coming back up to that level, I definitely believe that when if we're coming to this level, if you start to see a momentum to the upside, that could definitely be the market having some trouble breaking that level, because remember, the higher time frame support and resistance zones, it's harder for the market to break it through. But I will have this one here in case we're coming to that level, so I know if we're coming there, I know what's going to happen when the market starts to react to it, or starts to pull back down, try to break it, comes back down again, because you can have a lot of fake outs to the upside. So it looks like the market's continuing up, but it doesn't have the power to do that. And if we're coming to that level, obviously it's going to take some time, but at that point we're looking at the weekly chart. We're also looking at the daily chart, maybe 2 daily, 12 hours. So we're looking at the higher time frames and see how the candlestick is against that level, and then we're taking the decision, does it look like we're continuing back up or back down? But right now we are inside of the Fibonacci, and this is what I've always been telling you guys, that usually what happens when we are in a higher time frames Fibonacci is that the market is bouncing in between the 50 and 61%. And just a couple of days ago you saw the market trying to break this is it the 50%, then market came back down again. That is why I still believe that we can continue back even more, because we're still on the daily, we are in a downtrend right here. So what I also want to do is that I'm taking fib from 50,850 to the lowest point, and that is 56,183. And if we are seeing the market coming up to this level around 48,465 or 49,030, and the higher time frames Fibonacci at 49,730, that is against this trend line also. So we just might see a pullback to the upside, because we can see that the market is going down. We just might see a pullback and then market continues back down. So the first target that I'm having is 45,156 based on this Fibonacci, and the next target is 42,761. And we can also come back down to 40,614. And after that, we just might see the market coming inside the trend line again. And then you see market continues to the upside. Because remember, this is a weekly trend line. So for the market to just break it, usually not happens. The market comes inside of it again, and after that I definitely believe that Bitcoin will continue to the upside again, but we have to end this downtrend that we're having on the daily chart before we can see the market actually break into the upside. Or we just might have the power in a couple of days to break this previous lower high that we're having around 50,590, and then we actually see the market starting to break to the upside again. And then with time, we will create another all-time high on Bitcoin, but not right now. So until the market is still below this trend line or try to break it but comes inside, we are still in a downtrend. But if we see a clear breakout and retest, the market continues back up, yeah, well then obviously we are on our way up again. This is what I see right now, and I'm looking at the higher time frames, and I want the market to come up to these levels. And right now, you know, this day after New Year's Eve, so the market is pretty calm, so I am not going into any trade right now. I'm inside Bybit, and we're looking at Ethereum and looking at this weekly candlestick that we're having that's closing in just 1 day or 2 days. You can see that it's pretty heavy we're having, but what we have to have in mind that we're also having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wicks. Like, we're having so many wicks to the downside, but I still believe that we have to come back down a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is that I'm taking a Fibonacci from the lowest point to the highest point, and I still believe that we can come back down to the 61% right here around 3,456. That is the first target that I'm looking at for the market to come back down to. And what we can see is that we're still creating higher highs and higher lows on the weekly chart. So that is very good for us. So what we're doing right now, as we can see, is that the market created a lower high, market came back down, created a lower low. We're taking another Fibonacci from the lowest point to the highest point, and where we potentially can see market coming up now to have a lower high created, because remember, after a lower low, market needs to come up and create a lower high for then continue back down. I'm looking for the market to come up to 3,886 and 3,924, come back up to this level, and then I definitely believe that Ethereum can come back down to 3,389, and after that, just the same as on Bitcoin, I do believe the market will then slowly break to the upside again and start the bullish momentum that everyone is waiting for. But we need to end this cycle that we're having on the downtrend. So this is the weekly pullback that we're having. So as long as we're not breaking this low around 3,065, we're still in an uptrend. The market just needs to correct itself, it needs to be done, and then market continues back up. So a little bit more patient, guys. It's just the beginning of the year, so it's no problems. So yeah, a little pullback right now. We just might continue to the upside also. Remember, guys, this is just probabilities that I'm talking about, but this is definitely what I see, and I don't have to go back down to the lower time frames right now, because I'm waiting for the market to come to these levels. So when the market comes to these levels, that's when I'm starting to look at diving into the lower time frames to see if I'm having any positions, sell positions or buy positions. But obviously right now I'm looking for sell positions. around these levels. But if we're not respecting them, well, then I just have to start to looking in another way on the market, because the analyze that I'm having is not valid. Just go forward with your life, and then we starting over again. And remember guys, on Bybit we do right now have a bonus up to $4,100, and you are also supporting Bitcoinsensus while doing that. Use the link that I'm having in the description down below, and then you can receive up to $4,100 on Bybit. Thank you so much guys for looking at this video. I hope everyone had a super good New Year's Eve. I had that too. I actually kind of fell asleep before 12 o'clock. I woke up and then I was like, I told my friend, hey, I think it's almost 12 o'clock. We were looking at the fireworks, and then we were like, again. I had a super calm New Year's Eve, guys. But I hope you had a better one, but I was pretty fine with the one that I did have. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Please subscribe to the channel, because I have multiple live streams during the weeks, and I also have daily updates about cryptocurrencies. So hit the subscribe button, and we see each other in tomorrow's live stream or in tomorrow's video.